My mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Don't ever play with guns.
All right. Is anybody on the Trump train yet? Anybody? I know I am. What a day yesterday, guys. What a day. Let's just look here real quick. We'll pop this over and look at some of our indices. So we got real close to our first level. We didn't quite hit it. That happens sometimes. If there's anything you're going to learn in trading, if you set your targets exactly where it looks like the perfect buy is, there's a bunch of people doing the same thing. And so this actually turned out really good. If you look here, we went right to this gap, basically right to the gap on the right-hand side, and bounced up hard. Mark Newton was talking about this. He said it would be nice to get above the 5,500 range. Ideally, I would say get above the neckline, but right up here around the 5650 range, that would be ideal. If you get back above the neckline, especially with the veracity of that we've had here, veracity, something. If we get above that, it's going to be a really good sign. But it's not even just that. Look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ yesterday. The NASDAQ. We actually had the best single day in history for the Mag 7 yesterday. And this, I don't know what you call this. I don't know what you call this. This is not bearish. If there are people that are still bearish, this is not bearish. You don't go up 12 fucking percent on an indice like the NASDAQ and then call this bearish. This might be by numerical value, this might be the best day the NASDAQ has ever had either. I don't have confirmation on it, but I mean, look at this candle. I've never seen anything like it. So, and the Russell had a good day too. It lagged, but that's kind of what should happen. The tech is the most strong sector. The Russell bounced, but it's still in a little bit of pain. So that's fine. That's perfectly normal. What do we have oil at today? Right at $60.45, getting ready to roll over. Again, back into the 50s. So loving that. That's a good price. Again, that's the base cost for everything. One of the base costs for everything. And so it's good to not have that going up outrageously. Sorry, I'm just trying to put my windows back so I can still monitor them while we're talking. The dollar today, let's see that. It continues to drop, which is a beautiful thing. We don't hate that at all. So the dollar, again, we got this megaphone pattern. It's more likely to break down and then go up, at least test back down here into the 99 range. A weak dollar is good for international business. And in case you guys didn't know, I don't know if I said this already, the EU has agreed to pause their tariffs here for a certain amount of time, 90 days. So you went all in at the bottom? Yes, I did. That's what I do. I try to time things well. I'm not always perfect. I got beat up pretty good because I honestly didn't expect Trump to be as aggressive with his tariff policy as he was. I didn't expect countries, including penguins, to be tariffed. But it's brilliant when you look back at it. And now we've locked in 10% tariffs. And those aren't locked in. You can get rid of a 10% tariff. We got a post about that in a second. But it will require extraordinary measures per Kevin Hassett. So you would have to do something. You would have to give a really big gift to the king, which is America right now. If you look over here, though, all you Canadian morons who retaliated, you're with Canada, or I'm with China right now. That's it. Again, EU paused their shit. Mexico said no. All these other countries offered concessions, and the rest were trying to negotiate. We have over 75 at least countries right now negotiating, and we have over 20 deals that are getting ready to close. If you look over here, Shamath says every single foreign government leader who subsidizes and or guarantees loans to buy an Airbus plane for their national air carrier should immediately switch to Boeing as a commitment to Trump. I agree with that. That would be really smart. That would be just another death blow to China. China's in complete isolation now, guys. And this is, I've been saying this, I feel like, forever, and just fucking nobody listens, right? You don't hear it from enough places, and there's this confirmation bias thing where if you don't hear it from enough different sources, you don't listen to it, right? That's how things work. But you have to. Stephen Moran had the playbook for this. I told you Scott Bessent was the man to listen to, and that he was going to implement, that he was more important than the Fed, and that the focus now was on the Treasury Secretary. And that's true. Green Bean says 10% over 4 or 10-year over 4%. None of that fucking matters. That's all noise. We'll talk about that more later. But again, there's these people who have telegraphed. Even Trump has telegraphed what they're going to be doing, albeit the tariff thing threw me for a loop. But it was, again, brilliant move. Now we've normalized a 10% base tariff across the entirety of the world, which locks in additional revenue for the United States. We've solidified and isolated all trade with China right now. I'm not buying anything from China if I don't absolutely need it, because I'm not paying 125% tariffs. And so you have the entire world doing that, but now trade isn't stopped anywhere else. So now you have an incentive where it's like, oh shit, this is real. This is real. So maybe it's important right now that we start to look for new distribution chains and pull away from China, because America ain't joking. And that's something you have to remember. This pause from the EU guys literally separates China from the rest of the world. Well, China and Canada, but Canada's kind of fucked anyway, right? And I don't believe the polling data about Mark Carney beating Pierre. I do not. I don't believe it. I think it could still be a Trump-style win. We'll see what happens with it, but I don't believe it at all. We saw a 20% increase in stocks like Tesla, AMD yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I had things that went up 70%, some of my options, and my stuff is long dated, which is crazy. It's crazy when you have an option that's at least 6 to 7 months out and it goes up 70% in a day. That's nuts. Good morning, Jesse. We will be saying goodbye to Papa Powell. Maybe. They're working on that, right? Trying to get rid of Papa Powell. That could be a thing. We might be able to fire Fed officials, even the head of the Fed. We'll talk about that more in a little bit too. But yeah, no, guys, I'm excited. I think, again, we're reestablishing the world order. It isn't going to be driven by Klaus Schwab anymore. And if you guys look in the bottom left or bottom right corner over here, just at Bitcoin, you can see that we are now right up into a breakout zone and looking to go higher. And it's much higher. It's $150,000, and it's over a short period of time. And any major retaliations in any way from China, I think, just drive this up more. And then China is now talking about printing massive debt loads. We'll talk about that. But this is nuts. So the China effective tariff rate on the USA and then the U.S. effective tariff rate on China is shown in this graph. The thing that's crazy about this is they don't buy anything from us. This doesn't hurt us at all, which is why the EU abandoned China and left them alone adrift in the South China Sea, because they know that they're in the same boat. And the buyer, the consumer, always has the power, guys. If you're a business and you think you can tell your consumer to go fuck themselves, see how that goes. See how that goes. If you're Budweiser, go ahead and have a transgender agenda and see how that goes for you. If you're Target and you're advertising to kids, throw out a bunch of LGBTQ stuff and see how that works for you. If you're Disney, rewrite the Snow White film, put in an actress that hates the original movie and references misogyny and all, how white men are bad and all this stuff. See how well the movie produces. The consumer always wins. The consumer, what they want to see, wins. Always. We are the consumer for the world. We are the $20 trillion purchaser of goods and services for the world. So we win, hands down, always, always. And Trump was smart enough to see that, because of people like Stephen Moran and Scott Bessent and others that are like, I want to be a part of this ride. And that's why the new world order is changing. We're lucky to be a part of it. Everybody thought Kevin Hassett was gone. I know he's not. Trump is loyal to him, right? Like, he's loyal to this guy. This guy did time for him, man. He's going to be loyal to him. So, and he might say stupid shit. That's okay. You have different people in these negotiations. You'll have people that are crazy. You'll have people that are ill-informed, and you're like, I don't want to talk to that guy. I want to talk to the A-team. I want to talk to Scott Bessent. And then Howard Lutnick is brilliant too, but you're not getting around. The most reasonable person in the room is probably going to be Scott, so you want to talk to him. But Kevin isn't going anywhere. Kevin actually indicated that the bond market may have contributed to tariff decision, but did not cause a panic move. Everything was orderly. He also said there are deals close to the finish line, close to 20 countries making offers right now that are close to the finish line. And he said extraordinary deal needed to get below the 10% tariff. Now, this is good. This is a post from Sam. I just started following him. I wanted to talk about this. Let's see, ag products. It does hurt farmers, though, right? Farmers will be protected by the gov. Always will. Yeah, they were previously, too. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry. Don't worry. We're gonna take care of everybody that we need to take care of. And if anything, some of the deals that we're establishing will be, we've already talked about it, will be to buy some of our goods that countries have like made it impossible to buy, and food will be right at the top of the list. And not to mention that we'll subsidize any issues that they have. Larendris, read on X, shorts on CleanSpark, Mara, and Wolf roughly came down -6%. Yeah, they probably did. Those people got absolutely raped. And again, some of them are just there strategically, so that's not a big deal. Real quick, though, I wanted to read this off. Sam, I'm always amused when people are shocked by people doing exactly what they said they do. Everything that has happened over the past week was publicly announced months ago, and I showed you guys this. I showed you Stephen Moran's comments and videos from him and told you how important he was and how he was one of the original visions for the tariff and what the White House was doing. I didn't know it was going to be as dramatic, but I told you that this was the guy to follow. And again, this has been available. So you can find the future if you're willing to see it. And if you put any effort towards figuring it out. And if you listen to the right people, if you listen to stupid people who are bitching and moaning, like the Wolf of All Streets or whatever, this crypto guy, I like him. He's a better DJ, though, than he is somebody who can decipher what's going on in the global macro environment and geopolitics of the world. So if you want to listen to a wicked track, listen to him, but listen to me if you want to actually figure out who has any kind of real value, because that's all I spend my time doing. I spend 14, maybe hours, 12 to 14 hours a day, including weekends, and I have for years, to try and figure out who I should listen to, who has the information, and what I need to understand better, okay? So if I'm putting in that kind of effort, there's very few people that are going to be beating me. Very few. Stephen Moran, widely viewed as the architect of Trump's trade policy, literally, they said this back in the day, published a paper, A User's Guide to Restructuring the Global Trade System. I posted this in November of 2024, laying out everything that has happened, as well as many things that are yet to come. We should talk about those more in the day ahead. Well, he's got a pretty long post. I didn't read all this. The paper isn't some vague philosophical rant. It's a detailed policy playbook. Almost all of trade is denominated either directly or indirectly in dollars. Again, that's at record levels. It's like 52, 54%. I don't remember the exact number. Chat, let me know. This leads most countries for their economies, or this leads to most countries as their economies grow, becoming net dollar importers. This leads to trade deficits or dollar appreciation against their local currencies, making American exports less competitive. To Moran, this poses an existential threat to America, as dollar appreciation could lead to accelerating financialization of the American economy. Eventually, Americans' hollowed out economy undermines the dollar status as a reserve currency, leading to the collapse of the dollar. This is true going back to the time of the Romans and well before. Okay, this is how things worked. You can't do what we were doing and not face total and utter collapse. What is my feeling on CPI? I mean, I think it's going to be lower, right? If we look over here at Trueflation, we can see, and even if it isn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everything that's happening right now is slowing down trade. And we just saw inflation data from China, and it looks fucking horrible. It's dropping still. They're seeing lower numbers. And the world is going to see lower numbers because, again, consumers have the ability to adapt and change their spending patterns. That's something that none of these super smart people, economists, seem to be able to figure out, including the retarded ass Fed and these idiots I've been listening to. We got a post about that we'll be talking about in a second. Anyway, the paper's most important strategic insight being the global reserve currency has come at a deep and long-term cost. As global GDP grows, it becomes increasingly burdensome for the United States to finance the provision of reserve assets and the defense umbrella, as the manufacturing and tradable sectors bear the brunt of the cost. In short, the U.S. has been subsidizing global growth at the expense of its own industrial base. Moran views China and the Chinese mercantilist trade policy as an existential threat. That's why we're killing it. And China's done this. They've done the mercantile thing before, right? And it had to be killed before too. China has chosen to double down on mercantilist, export-led model to secure marginal income, much to the rest of the world's consternation. Moran, oh wait, let me expand this, also recognizes a key failure of previous China tariffs. They were too narrow. To avoid the tariffs, many Chinese companies began exporting goods or components to third countries, engaging in some minor processing, and then re-exporting to the United States. In other words, Chinese exports to the United States were simply rerouted. The universal tariffs aim to close that loop by forcing trade partners to choose between China and America. And they're doing that. And guess who they're choosing? So why start? They're choosing the fucking consumer, right? Are you gonna choose the competition? Are you going to choose the exporter that's competition to your own fucking goods? Or are you going to choose the consumer who purchases them? This isn't rocket science. So why start with across-the-board tariffs? Because they reverse the dynamic. Instead of asking for better trade terms, the U.S. grants tariff relief to countries that meet its conditions. So you're already applying the pain train. You're in it. They're getting it. And they've got a really rapid incentive to be like, what the fuck is this? I better fix it. Make this end. The pain is bad. Oh, wait, they paused it. Let's fix this now. So you're creating an incentive to get movement and get velocity, which you have to have, whether it's money or trade. You have to have velocity. If you don't have velocity, you have nothing. Such a tool can be used to pressure other nations to join our tariffs against China. If other nations accept the higher U.S. tariff, at least they're paying revenue to the Treasury and limiting the security obligations of the United States. It's a negotiation starting point. The end goal is a tiered system. Countries are grouped by currency behavior, IP protection, market openness, security alignment with the U.S. Each tier gets different tariffs. Multilateralism is out. Conditional bilateralism is in. And that's not just a financial imbalance. It's a geopolitical vulnerability. Countries that want to be inside the defense umbrella must also be inside the trade umbrella. Makes sense, right? This is about control of leverage. Market access becomes a tool of foreign policy. Again, they want our access because we're the consumer. This is about building a new trade architecture that reflects American interests rather than global norms. Moran's plan isn't nostalgia for 2018. It's not about one country, one factory, one industry. It's a reconstruction of global trade with the U.S. market as the key prize and tariff relief as the price of entry. It's unclear if it'll work. It will. Or even if it's a good idea, it is. The very least, it's a plan. The only real surprise is that people are surprised. Moran and others have said clearly what they would do. Now they're doing it. So he did so good until that last one. But, whatever. It was great. It was a great post. I'm not gonna trash it. So you guys should follow Sam. Check him out. He goes by Futurenomics. Or Futurenomics. So I'd say that post alone. I love the hair. I mean, fuck. That post alone was worth a subscribe, in my opinion. Christopher, the 10% is still on, creating liquidity to motivate Congress to revolutionary. Yeah, exactly. That's another really good point. So the things that we're doing that have applied pressure to markets and our bond market, and that are creating fear that we're going to have a big tariff war. Now that that's paused, Congress has a really, really big incentive to try and do things to support the economy too, because they can see the plan, and it's a big plan. And they don't want to be the person that votes against the plan that could save jobs and help the citizens of their voting base, right? Again, for a long time, we've only cared about Wall Street. We haven't cared about Main Street. But a lot of voters are Main Street. And we've seen that we can get them to action, because the Trump win this last time around was definitely the working man, okay? It was those people, working man and woman. But it was those people. And so, again, this is good stuff. And here's how I know we're winning, right? Tanvi Ratna, I'm actually going to follow her real quick. I like following smart people. She has a little post here. I don't know if it's in English. Let me check.
Many parts of the world.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So this is the India's commerce minister, and for the first time that I've really heard, India is finally calling out the bullshit for China. People are finally realizing it. Okay.
The world accepted China as a member of the WTO. Many parts of the world were convinced that China will reform itself, China will transform its processes, will bring transparency to their economy on fair terms in the global economy, and that being a large economy, an emerging economy, an economy growing by leaps and bounds. And we've seen that growth over the last 25, 30 years, almost a relentless growth to become the second largest economy in the world. But what everybody closed their eyes to was that this growth was fueled by unfair trade practices.
We're actually talking about this.
This growth happened at the cost of fair play. This growth had its foundation on every action which, in the rules of the game, would be considered improper. And the result of those actions caused a situation where I think large parts of the world got carried into the narrative of low-cost manufacturing, low-cost goods coming from one particular geography, but did not realize the long-term impact that it would have at the global stage.
So we got India now finally calling out the bullshit. TT, I love your post here real quick. Maybe in the future, revenues, 10% tariff can be used to buy Bitcoin. That is one of many tariff, budget neutral stances to be able to acquire more. There's so many different ways to do it. There's the Bitcoin bonds. There's what you're talking about with tariff revenue. There is defense bonds, like Michael Howell talked about. There's a ton of ways to do this. I love it. And BGZ, thank you for the $10 tip. Appreciate all you do. Super interested on hearing credit default swap insights when the time is right. Yeah, me too. I am too. We'll definitely have to look at that at some point. Bricks News. Just in, European Union considers plans to purchase more gas from the United States, citing Trump's tariff pressure. We talked about how they're going to need to purchase more LNG gas, right? Trump was saying $350 billion. That's the number he likes. And here's the architect, guys. Here's the guy I've been telling you who was brilliant and would replace Papa Powell on the stage. Nobody gives a shit about Papa Powell anymore. They just expect him to bend a knee. This is the man. This is the architect. And the part I love about this is liberals have to fucking hate this. This is a gay man who is the head of Treasury and has the highest political position of any gay person that's ever existed in the U.S.'s history. And he is absolutely crushing it.
In terms of
Goes against a lot of narratives.
escalation, unfortunately, the biggest offender in the global trading system is China, and they're the only country who's escalated. And I can tell the rest of the world that I'm not sure whether it was the prime minister or the economic minister in Spain made some comments this morning.
We're being nice to Canada right now. We're being nice to Canada. We didn't include them in the list because we didn't want to isolate them.
Oh, well, maybe we should align ourselves more with China. That would be cutting your own throat, because I can tell you that these Chinese exports that the U.S. tariff wall is going to keep out, that China, for all of you who can remember that Disney movie of the brooms carrying the buckets of water, that is a Chinese business model. It never stops. They just keep producing and producing and dumping, and it's going somewhere. And I think, Rob, at the end of the day, that we can probably reach a deal with our allies, with the other countries that have been long-term. They've been good military allies, not perfect economic allies, and then we can approach China as a group.
It's called the Mar-a-Lago Accord. Anybody remember me talking about that? Okay, Shamath was talking about something like this. All these people have been talking about what's happening, and people were just listening to the wrong people. Bhatya. I got to talk about Bhatya once every day. Real quickly, India. Christopher said, India has many first worldwide threads, technical expertise, combine their population and robotics. They can easily. So here's the thing. We will be working a lot with India in the future. We will not make the same mistakes that we made with China. That's just not going to be a thing anymore. We're going to have free trade. We're not going to allow protectionism. We're not going to allow them to consume our IP and then still have the benefits of being a part of this new trade world order. This is a new world order. You have to realize that. We have basically said the World Trade Organization is fucking garbage, and it's done. It's done. They have no power anymore. You know what China did yesterday? They went ahead and submitted a dispute to the World Trade Organization. You know how much Trump gives a fuck about that? He doesn't. It doesn't matter. They aren't a thing anymore. China has a lot to learn. And Trump is admittedly doing a great job talking back rhetoric and saying, hey, Xi's a friend of mine. We want to work with them. We want all this stuff to go well. He's doing all the right things to make it to where we can come to the table. We don't want to go to war with China. We want to save China. It's just going to be in a completely different way. They won't be the military powerhouse they want to be. They won't be able to produce all the goods at oversupply in order to be able to crush other markets around the world and have control over it so that they can dominate the world. That is not what's going to happen. But we do want to try and save them because we don't want a world war. And Trump is doing all the stuff perfectly. Let's listen to my hottie Jewish lady over here, Batya. I love her. She's brilliant. She's got a brilliant mind in regard to all of this and just deciphering it. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Here's what I think the president might be thinking.
Ooh, it's clippy.
It seems like what he's trying to do here is organize around China.
All right, never mind. I got other clips. We'll have to listen to it. Maybe it gets better. Let me see if it gets any better.
And here's how he did that, Trace.
Ugh.
He basically global elites on behalf of the forgotten.
I'm going to, let me go into it real quick. I'm going to see if this will refresh. I swear to God this worked, unless I just grabbed the wrong clip. Let me see here.
This is like what he's trying to do.
Nope, it's all fucked up. Gifted membership. Thank you, Ash. That's very kind of you. All right, so I've got a bunch more from her, so we can talk about those in a bit. Let me go back down here. We got Besson out of the way. That clip is all fucked up. Essentially here, it says it up here. So to get the elites to comply, he did the equivalent of saying, nice stock market you got there. It would be a shame if anything happened to it. That's what Americans will remember. Unlike in 2008, Trump put us ahead of Wall Street. And that's important. Canadian Prime Minister Carney agreed to negotiate new trade deal with the U.S. So again, they escalated, but then they backed off too and are willing to negotiate a trade deal. Andy said, we're not back to square one. Everyone got... So this person said, and we're back to square one. Nothing accomplished. Let's see who's this fucking retard. The founder of this capital management, global macro, market neutral. God, look at that face. Risk optimization, aiming for positive real returns in climates, not investment advice. It's probably a good thing it's not investment advice because it sounds like you didn't understand what Trump was doing and you still don't. So I pity the fucking people that follow you. But Andy, who is probably in chat right now, said everyone forgot there's a 10% baseline tariff for every country. Trump got people so upset with the other tariff stuff, with the penguins and all the other shit, that they're more than happy to accept a 10% baseline tariff across the board now. People are just assuming that's life. He's right. And so to act like we didn't get anything from this is just moronic. Adam Schiff going after Trump. Yeah, nobody cares about that. That's just noise. Oh, this is great. Steve Eisman, listen to this. This is a good one. I'm going to probably speed this up. We'll do the, like 1.5. He's not the fastest talker. He's not like me.
Make of it is that I think part of the problem, I'm watching your show, everybody else's show, and people are getting on the show, they're almost in hysterics. And I think the issue is that
Bill Ackman.
Everybody of our social class took Econ 101, and we were all taught the same thing. Trade good, tariffs bad, trade war terrible. And that was drummed into everybody's heads with such force that it's a paradigm that now you have a president of the United States who doesn't seem to accept that paradigm, and people find that extremely jarring. So what I try and do in situations like this is try and step in the shoes of the other person, see the world through their eyes, and try not just to understand what they think, but why they think it. And I think what's going on here is you have to go back to the 90s when Clinton was pushing NAFTA and China entering the WTO. And he basically made two arguments, that free trade would improve GDP growth and would create a lot of jobs. And he was right on the former, and he was dead wrong on the latter. And if you travel...
Didn't create any jobs here. Created them all overseas.
Well, this country, there are parts of this country that would have been devastated over the last 25 years because of free trade, because they didn't just lose their jobs, they lost their towns. So I think President Trump is...
Real quickly, sorry, I just saw this comment from Sid Vid and I wanted to talk to it. He said Scott Bessent gave the plan. He literally told people, hey guys, don't retaliate. Just don't retaliate. Keep a cool head. Think about what kind of offers we can have with each other in any kind of trade. And just, most importantly, don't retaliate. Literally told them the plan.
Taking the attitude, free trade is great, but GDP isn't just a number, it's people. And there are whole parts of this country that have suffered terribly. And we have the freest markets in the world, and he wants to reorder it. And I have a lot of sympathy with that. And I think one thing that isn't said enough is,
yeah, we're going to stop right here. So he wants to reorder trade. We do have CPI. Thank you for calling that out, MB and Aaron. Let's go back over here. We'll refresh real quick. We don't want to miss that. That's going to be a big thing. You guys are always keeping me on track. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep looking here. I'll see if... Yeah, lots of miners went up yesterday. We're only in the first inning of this world economic repositioning. I know, and it's beautiful, though, because now we're driving business already back to the United States. If you're a manufacturer in the United States, you just got a huge shot in the arm, a huge one. All of a sudden now, everything is way cheaper for you than it was for China. People are expecting earnings to collapse. People have a reason not to post earnings over Q1, and Q2 is going to blow their fucking minds when they look back at this stuff. They're going to be like, holy shit, look at all these US businesses making all this money now because people are buying from here, because the one country that's fighting us doesn't buy any of our shit anyway. All right, let's refresh here. We got some data points. Inflation rate 2.4%, well below consensus and forecast, or I should say at least 2.2 underneath consensus, 0.1 under forecast. This should go a long ways to helping things out. 2.8 out of 3 and 3 for consensus and forecast for core. These are beautiful numbers. This is beautiful. This is what we've been talking about. Again, I just want to keep reiterating this shit because I feel like nobody understands this. If you know where to look, you can see the future, especially when the Fed is so fucking retarded that they don't look at real-time data. It's really easy to outpace the Fed right now, guys. We have an advantage that didn't exist before. It didn't exist before Truflation. It didn't exist before X. There's so much. It didn't exist before Grok. If you guys don't understand shit, have you ever asked Grok? Yeah, rates are going lower, man. And here's the thing. Look at this. Even Jobly 4-week claims, lower than forecast. Continuing jobless claims, lower than forecast and consensus. Initial jobless claims, consensus level, lower than forecast. This is so good right now. The entire market is going boom again today. If you guys haven't bought, you have about this many seconds to do that. Okay? It's either get on or fucking just watch it go by. Actually, Grok already has an app. I have it on my phone. I don't know if everybody's gotten it yet, but you can sign up for it. Just go to the App Store and you can get it. They do have a standalone app, though. I have it on my app or on my phone. And I think they have a standalone website, too. So you can do that. And then there's Super Grok. I don't know if I'm signed up for Super Grok. It's supposed to give you like extra processing power. Yeah. So just to be clear here, pre-market is getting better by the minute. By the minute right now. We're Tesla down about 2%. MicroStrategy down about 2 and change. So a lot of things that were down 3 or 4% are now they've cut their losses almost in half. So this is good. This is good. App is available for at least a month. What do you mean by for at least a month? All right. So what else do we have? We got Fed speak at 8:30. I don't really care. A bunch of stock, more Fed speak with Goolsby. And then I don't know what else. Fed balance sheet, monthly budget stuff comes later. 30-year bond auction should be interesting. 15-year mortgage rates. 30-year mortgage rates. Yeah, those should be interesting. Those might perform okay. Have a little more cash to deploy. Today, a good day to deploy the rest? I think so. I would just do it. This is a moment, in my opinion, just looking at the NASDAQ, okay? And again, this is just me, not financial advice, high school dropout basement. Got a GED. This right here tells you all you need to know about what's going on right now. This is such a powerful candle. When combined with the macro and what we understand about the world right now, we have all the power. That is not changing. Even in active war, as long as you're invested in Bitcoin, you're okay. So I don't know, man. This is up. Let's listen here. We need to finish off the rest of this conversation with Eisman because it's brilliant.
Is that the United
And yes, I did nail the bottom, Rumi. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for pointing that out. Did you go into crazy? I was nervous yesterday. You said you're all in a 4K and additional. Then yesterday it happened. Did you get in too? Hopefully you got in. Yeah, that's awesome.
States, if that's your goal, the United States is in the best possible position to negotiate.
I mean, real quickly, Julian said Tesla or clean spark options. Those are very different things. Tesla is like the surest fucking bet in the entire world. Clean spark options have a limited window on, you have one company and you're betting big on Bitcoin. Very different things. I own both, but they're very different things. I don't have any money to buy anything today. I did it all yesterday. I put I don't know, like in the last 2 business days, like $500,000 in. So I don't have any more. I nailed it. I did it yesterday. I dumped all 400 while we were talking through stuff, and I was looking at just how perfect all of this is lining up. I just said it's go time.
Towards that goal, because the percentage of U.S. GDP that is composed of exports is only 11%. It's the lowest percentage pretty much of any country.
The market is reacting. It's better.
On planet Earth. Europe, every country is in excess of 30, except for Germany, which is over 40. Mexico and Canada are over 30.
If I sell today, it would be very small amounts just to maybe add some cash for dip buying. I'm not. When you have an event like this happen where we're changing the world order and winning, you don't sell that quickly. You sell it slow, and then you sell it faster when we get in overbought conditions. How close are we to overbought now, right, guys? How close are we? Not very fucking close. Not very close, right? Extreme fear, 16. And I made $500,000 yesterday. And we're in extreme fear. Am I selling that quickly? Fuck no. Fuck no. This is the V, baby. You want the V. Trust me. You want the V.
5%. China, if you factor in all the stuff that they do through Vietnam and Cambodia, is probably 30%. So
good job, value.
What's going to happen over the next several months are negotiations, and what's going to become so if people are rational, this is where I don't know what's going to happen. If countries are rational, Canada and Mexico would come to the United States and basically beg.
So this was before Canada talked about going back to the negotiation table. And again, Mexico has said, we're good, no retaliation. So they are being rational. The entire world is being rational.
We'll do what you want. Because
Not China, but that's okay.
But of the 35% that Mexico and Canada have of their GDP from exports, 25 points of that 35% is just exports to the United States. Those two countries hold no.
Alex Garcia, I still have a lot of cash. We'll have more opportunities to buy. I hope you're right for your own sake. MB, perhaps we can still have another drawdown before the. I usually hear that a lot from people that are not well positioned. That kind of thing, like, hey, we'll have a drawdown. I just want to reiterate that we had oversold conditions on the AAII, like bearish stuff, going back 50 fucking years. We had stuff that went back to the Great Depression for timing, 2008 for the timing. So when you have things like that, and you have, like, again, even right here, if we just look, the fear and greed index that was very powerful and worse than 2022. Lowest readings since the fucking pandemic. You can tell yourself, maybe I'll have a lot more buying opportunities. I personally wouldn't rest on that. And time is not your friend right now when we have an extreme fear of 16 and we had overbought conditions that were some of the worst that we've seen in history. And we just had the 4th best bounce in history.
Cards. Now, Europe is not much better. And so I think if everybody's rational, they'll lower their barriers. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's rational. There's politics. People might be, some of the politicians might be afraid if we give in, we're going to lose our jobs. Mm-hmm. That's the wild card. If reasonable heads prevail, Trump will get pretty much what he wants.
Let's say it's the truth.
All right, I love this. Kaylin Bedford said, following your lead over the last few weeks has saved my portfolio. Great calls and moves. That's awesome. I was just trying to keep people from fucking selling at the bottom, in all honesty, because I've done that, man, that emotional shit where you just lose, right? I lost everything in the 2008 great financial crisis. If you don't think I felt pressure and I didn't have some trauma from losing everything and going bankrupt in the 2008 great financial crisis. I did. I had a lot of stress, but I knew that the course was getting better by the day. And I know how well positioned we are in this, and it's not the same thing. And I didn't want people to lose faith and fuck themselves. But I had to override my own fears of previous failure to do that. And it's not easy.
Is somewhere in between?
Which truth?
In terms of countries caving on one end or politicians being afraid of losing their jobs so they don't cave. Let's say they agree to some and not others. Is it worth the pain? In your view, is it worth the pain that we're going through in the markets?
To whom?
To our country, to the markets.
Well, there's the people in the markets who are upset that they've lost money. And I'm not going to kid you. I'm one of those people. I'm long only. I've lost plenty. But then there are the rest of everybody else in the country who lost their jobs in their towns. They're cheering. So who voted for the president? They did. So, I mean, look, you can agree with President Trump. You can disagree with President Trump. One thing I actually find extremely admirable about him is one of the few politicians in my lifetime who actually does what he says he's going to do. He has told you that he was going to do this for years, and now he's gone and done it, and everybody's shocked that he fulfilled his promise. They didn't take him seriously. But he's doing what he said he was.
Your first episode.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. He's doing what he said he was going to do. People just aren't used to this. They're like, oh, he said he was going to do that, so he's not really going to do it. He'll just do something else. Oh, he said he won't really do that much. No, guys, he's fucking doing it. The man almost died twice. He almost had his brains blown out with just like not an inch, not even an inch, centimeter. His fucking back of his skull would have popped out. Do you think he gives a fuck anymore? He doesn't. He wants to do the right thing. He doesn't give a fuck what people have to say. It's amazing. Victor said, I had my wife hitting me like a hammer. Sell. Shut the fuck up. 25% one day. Awesome. Tell her you love her, but hey, shut the fuck up about this. I got it. MB, TLT still plummeting on this good CPI data, though. The seller was Japan, not China. And apparently they stopped selling I don't have any thoughts about any of that. I think it's all noise. Namdaten, my favorite Jesse lines, we're going to make so much money. 2024, Tesla Q3, and fuck it, I'm throwing 400,000 at the open prior to 2025 massive rally. Yeah. BGZ, what percentage odds will BTC fall at like 1? If you want that 1%. Sid Vid, I mean, I don't even know if it's 1. It's probably less than 1%. We all do it, and it's the worst feeling. Christopher Campbell, Victor, same, plus I manage my kids' accounts and told them to add money when Trump tweeted yesterday. They did. Awesome. MB, Namdaten, that 400K comment on chat was hilarious yesterday. Sid Vid 2007, I like when you speak to the mentality of trading and investing. Absolutely. The make and break, because you can learn data. Yeah, dude, it's the mentality is the hardest part. So many people will like be super confident about what they know. But when you see enough red, the pain that you can feel inside of you. And I still have this pain sometimes, man. Over the weekend, I don't remember if it was like Saturday or Sunday, I just slept for like a day to catch up because I was just mentally fatigued. It's hard coming up here and trying to be inspiring and tell people it's going to be okay when you still have your own trauma from the great financial crisis. You know what I mean? It's really hard to do that. And so you got to have fortitude. If your fortitude's too low, like add some bonus points because you got to have it. There's just no other way. Anthony, 2008 GFC was way more serious. Actual collapse. We literally, over the weekend, the government had to print only $850 billion. I say only $850 billion because that's just not even a number anymore that matters. Biden was doing that over the weekends. But we had to do that just so the banks wouldn't collapse on Monday. That's the world we were living in at that time. It was very scary. But you know what we've done since then? We've said, hey, you never have to worry about losing money in your bank account. Ignore the FDIC limits. And you never have to worry about a major collapse because the money printer go burr. And then if the money printer go burr, Bitcoin go burr. Not in money printing, but price. So we literally have so many safety mechanisms right now to continue this run. And now we are the world power again. You better understand what that means. Dude, it's hard to hold ground. I have 3x our savings since 2022. I deserve some trust. Yes. Yes. Is that what you said to the wife? Fuck yeah. LW Crypto. When we get into greed, will you look at 2x MSTZ for downturn? I don't know. No, I'll probably look at specific puts. If I think that MicroStrategy is really going to go down, I'll probably be looking for specific targets. I'll probably be more calculated, honestly. Dominic, hey man, just got here. Congrats yesterday. Thank you, sir. Benedict, why don't we see positive reaction of BTC for that bullish data? It doesn't need to. This is actually, so again, just look at where BTC is. Look at where it is. We're in a low volume environment is today Thursday? We'll just say it's Thursday. Let me see. What does the economic thing say over here? Is it Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. Okay. Sorry. I've been in my basement too much. But it doesn't need to right now. Having a kind of keeping the dip right now and then booming into the open is my desirable. That's my spirit animal. I love that shit. So that's what we want. Yeah, they did announce the 90-day tariff pause. We talked about that at the beginning. Yeah, it's a good thing, guys. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. This is all good stuff. This is good. I want to remind people that MicroStrategy went up 25 fucking percent yesterday. Tesla went up 23%. Nvidia went up 19% yesterday. This is a company that's worth $2.8 trillion. Okay? Like, Hood went up 23.4. Palantir went up 19%. Can we just be grateful for that day and be okay if it's down a couple percent today and assume that maybe it's going to be all right? Why? Because we're in extreme fear. Extreme. This is blessed stuff here. This is sacred ground. Andy, we're not back to square one. Oh, we already did that one. We can skip that. It's starting. Amazon just canceled inventory orders from China following new tariffs. And I can already see slowdown, guys. I went on Amazon. I'm seeing lots of sales. I think people are slowing down their purchases, which creates this temporary deflation, which is the opposite narrative that everybody's been spinning. Me, Kevin, you listening? Are you listening? Do you understand what's happening yet? Have you removed your political bias? Are you going to be hanging out with Ross Gerber and licking your fucking wounds for the next couple of years, wondering why you weren't positive about the market because you let your political beliefs cloud your fucking judgment? U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on whether Chinese stocks will be removed from the U.S. exchanges. Everything's on the table. I would not touch Chinese stocks with a 10-foot fucking pole right now, but some of you will. Walter Bloomberg, again, anonymous account, India Trade Minister to CNN News 18 in constant engagement with the U.S. will be working with them to take off additional tariffs in the days to come. I thought this was fucking hilarious. We've got Xi reading The Art of the Deal, and we've got Trump reading The Art of War. I love it. It's just so funny. EU response. Yeah, again, they imposed the 25, but they took that stuff off. China, time is not China's friend, says Bill Ackman. And Bill Ackman admittedly got what he wanted, right? Which is perfect. He said, every U.S. company that sources products in China is in the process of finding alternative suppliers. Yes. Yes. Supply chains are time-consuming and can be expensive and challenging to move. Once they're moved, they're sticky. That's the thing you need to understand. China has to comply right now, guys. They have to. Because once their supply chains start moving, they're fucked. And they've already had so many of them move, and people are already making plans. They have to come to the table. Here's the thing. We haven't even really invited them. Scott Bessent just said yesterday that the plan is to work with all these other countries and then figure out China. China's not even at the table right now. They're losing more every day. This is a good one, too, from Danny. If you haven't read it, I'm probably not going to go through all of it right now because we kind of talked about it. I think that's I'm probably going to stop on the tariff stuff for now. We're making $2 billion a day. That's a good place to stop. Well, maybe there's more. Let me go back. Let me see. What else do we got here? $2 billion a day. That's good. This still doesn't help. Where 1/3 of the world's going to... Yeah, just China may cap production in sectors like electric vehicles to work with the EU. It doesn't matter because they're talking to another producer. They're not talking to the purchaser. They're not talking to the consumer. None of that matters. Here's another one. We got to listen to all the Scott Bessent interviews. They're so good. Here's another one.
That if we put up a tariff wall, the ultimate goal would be to bring jobs back to the U.S., but in the meantime, we will be collecting substantial tariffs. As I've said, I believe on this show that if we're successful, tariffs would be a melting ice cube in a way, because you're taking in the revenues as the manufacturing facilities are built in the U.S., and there should be some level of symmetry between the taxes we begin taking in with the new industry from the payroll taxes as the tariffs decline. That
Again, he's been telling you everything and telegraphing it. Somebody said, Victor said in here, market is still like 2 to 3% in the red. I think people are trimming after you. Stupid people are doing that. Stupid people who have felt a lot of pain are de-risking. They don't have any real vision and understanding. Or maybe they failed in 2008 and they don't have fortitude. Stupid people are trimming. And trimming in a big way when their extreme fear level is at 16. That's what stupid people do. And there are going to be stupid people. That's great. We want the stupid people in the morning. We want the stupid people in the morning. We want the smart people in the afternoon. We'll see how it goes. Again, today could be a trimming day. That's okay. Today is, if you've missed out, yeah, Stock Trader Max is de-risking. I don't want to say anything specifically about him, but okay. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Unlock Real Estate Hang Seng Index closed 3% up today. They needed that. They needed that badly. Florida Sloth. Quick reminder to like. Yeah, thank you. Please like the video if you could, guys. And if you could talk and post stuff too on X, I've got the video right at the top. It's always nice. If you guys have news events too, throw them in chat. I am trying to look at all of this. Okay. So if you have any, let's look at it. Do you think investors are ready to jump back into high-risk Bitcoin miners like CleanSpark, or will they take longer moves since they're further out on the risk curve? They are further out on the risk curve, but keep in mind that Bitcoin is getting ready to break out of a trend. I mean, this trend really topped out in December of 2024. So we're talking about 4 months almost of downward trend in Bitcoin off of a really, if you look at it, lackluster 13 to 14 months for all Bitcoin-related proxies, including crypto. So we've had this massive consolidation off a 4-year trend line. And the miners are down 75%. Here's what I'm going to say. This is not a time where you have a lot of time on miners. You might have a few more days, maybe a week, 2 weeks, if you're lucky. But there's so many tailwinds, man. You got to be crazy. Treasury Secretary revealed that Trump laid a trap. This is so great. We're even telling them that. Listen to this.
This was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along. And that, you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have
Look how he's smiling when he says this.
Shown themselves to the world to be the bad actor.
Yeah, they literally said that they'll steal intellectual property from us, that they'll cut off all supplies of goods. They've let the rest of the world know that they're not a reliable trade partner with their initial salvo. It's endgame for them.
And we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard message. Don't retaliate, things will turn out well.
Don't retaliate, things will turn out well. Guess what happened? And again, just a reminder, Temu and Shein are dead. We killed off huge companies. It will now cost $75 per postal item on June 1st. It will go to $150 per postal item. These things, their companies are dead. Trump has been clear that he won't do tariff exemptions in the near term. UST Greer, Trump has been clear, no exemptions and tariffs. And again, we're playing hardball. This is amazing. Look at this. Germany's next chancellor, Friedrich Merz. This guy is a dipshit World Economic Forum kind of guy, right? Trump's shift on tariffs shows the benefits of EU unity. Let's all set tariffs at 0% on transatlantic trade. The problem will be... So now they're trying to literally remove trade barriers in the EU. Hey, guys, the biggest consumer on earth is over here. You should probably do that same thing here. And don't forget, we still haven't implied tariffs on pharmaceuticals yet. That's coming. Trump had a bunch of good interviews yesterday. I'm not going to go into all of them. Finland backs zero tariff deal with U.S. to avoid global recession. Yeah, the $4 trillion was added back to the U.S. markets in 10 minutes yesterday. Here, maybe there's a Batya one that works. Got to get my Batya in for the day. I like my Batya fix. My Eunice Yoon and my Batya fixes.
Do you know what is so amazing about this whole tariffs saga? The Americans who have the least
Might have
are
listened to
willing
this
to
yesterday.
say, you know what? Maybe I don't need that extra piece of crap from...
All right, so we listened to this one yesterday, but she's 100% spot on. Americans that have the least are like, fuck it, we're not going to buy the Chinese shit. We won't increase inflation. That's not happening. What's the big announcement coming from Mike Johnson this morning? Oh, is there one? You know, it's probably, there's so much going on in that front. We need to look at that too. Let's get off tariffs. I do want to talk about China super quick. Listen to this. Even Jamie Dimon now. This is just fucking funny as shit.
But a very important point, China and Russia have made it clear they want to kind of dismantle the post-World War II system. And I think the goal of all this trade stuff should be to make Europe and our trading partners, Japan, Korea, Philippines, stronger, not weaker, bring them closer as we build up our military. And any trade that protects military, that we should definitely do. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes about, as you know, pharmaceuticals, shipping, pharmaceutical ingredients, penicillin.
That we're so reliant on China for all of this stuff.
We can't rely on any potential adversary for things we need for our military. And so, there I'm quite sympathetic. That we should do. That's absolutely paramount.
And you wrote about this.
So in the first 20 seconds, it was still very like World Economic Forum-y shit. But then in the end, it's kind of like a concession of, oh yeah, we do need to tighten the reins. China owns 383,935 acres. This isn't including the meat packing plants, the processing facilities, the places that are all next. Well, I mean, it does include the places that are all next to military bases. I wonder why they would fucking do that. We're taking it back. We're taking it back. They own zero, that we can own zero land. Actually, Chinese people can't even own land. You lease the land your fucking house is on from the Chinese government. Wonderful. Isn't communism great? Good luck, guys. China leaders to meet on stimulus after Trump's tariffs. He says good luck because it shows 330%. We're going to be at 350 very soon, debt to GDP for China. This is a horrific fucking number. Even I think I love Michael Howell. I totally respect Michael Howell a lot, but he is wrong on China. And it's okay for brilliant people to be wrong. I'm okay with that. He's wrong on China. He holds too much weight in China. Zero Hedge also said China weakens. I don't always agree with some people. I don't always agree with Zero Hedge. He's very politically biased, even though I try not to be myself, even though I obviously have some love for the Trump administration right now. But he said China weakens the yuan for the sixth straight day, and for a third day below the red line of 720. Thursday fixing is at 720.092, weaker than Wednesday, weakest since September of 2023. The gap between reference rate and the average estimate in the survey was 1,404 pips, almost a record high. So what he's talking about is we're seeing a lot of pressure right now in the yuan. I'll just want to bring some of that over real quick. So again, you can see how this is bad. They're trying to basically look at this, guys. This is a descending triangle. I've been talking about this for a while. This is the dollar. This is the right now inverted. This is the dollar against the yuan. So think of it as the yuan versus the dollar since it's inverted. I know that's confusing, but anyway, basically the yuan is losing value against the dollar. That's what this going down over here is. And you can see where it was gaining value. You go all the way back here, you can see how the yuan just really took off in 2005 against the dollar, and they just gained. Look at how powerful their currency became all the way up to 2013, and then they've had chop. And you can see pandemics in here. You can see other things, right? You can see the 2018 event where the Fed tried to raise rates prematurely. Jesse, Bitcoin is in a downtrend weekly wedge still. No. All right. Anyway, back to this. So they're getting ready to break out of this. If they can't hold the peg, they're fucked. And there's a lot of consequences to this. I won't go into all that today, but just know that it's bad. It's really, really bad. And the Hang Seng, somebody said it was like up 3%. It was actually up 2%. And it's really bad. Like this is not a good look for this indice at all. Again, I guess we're at numbers that bring us to 2006. Yay, before the great financial crisis. So now you've made they're at 18,549. They're up to 20 something. So now since the dot-com bubble, you've actually made some money if you were in the Hang Seng Index, which is the Hong Kong version, right? They're fucked. This country is fucked. And I want to talk about why they're fucked, but let's look at something else. This is one of the key things that matters right now. This is it. This is the Chinese bond market. And if you can't tell that something has changed, I don't know what to tell you. It's really, really bad. Really, really bad. Falling off a cliff right now. And it looked like it was getting better and regaining stability. Why? Because of all the propaganda. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But all the deep seek, all the China's got the Bobby Baba AI. Did you know that it sounds like Meta might have been working with China to help them in their AI game? If that's true, they need to be prosecuted. The people that did that should be looked at as helping a foreign adversary and be prosecuted for treason. I think that I still believe Mark Zuckerberg is a two-faced piece of shit. And I think he's still censoring content on Meta right now. So Zuck needs to get fucked. And I think he will. But yeah, you can see how that has not turned out well for their bond market. They got all the way back up to 2%, and now it rolled back over again. And this is the canary in the fucking coal mine right here. Yeah, and I'm actually going to put a few of these in here because I want to be alerted very quickly when this thing cracks because it's going to be super important, and I'll be posting about it. Yeah, let's keep going, though. I got a lot. I want to go over China, and then I want to get into other stuff. And I did a post yesterday on China. Did I put it in here? Hopefully I did. I want to talk about it. We got Schumer talking about how we should do exactly what Trump is doing right now. Let me see here. Did I put my own fucking post in here? I don't know if I did. I don't know. Yeah, here. Yeah, you know what? I can find it. I think I have it. Maybe I have it under predictions or something. I do a lot of bookmarking, guys. Let me see here. If you guys see predictions, you let me know, okay? I'm just going to refresh. Oh, I got to look at chat again. There we go. Let me see. Maybe I put it in here. Right here, okay? And I really feel this way, okay? Ash, thank you for gifting me another membership. I appreciate that. And Man Mahendra got it. I love Man. What's up, dude? So I really do feel bad for China right now, okay? I said China's fucked, and I feel bad for the normal everyday people. 12%, 15% of the population are CCP. The rest are not. Why do I feel bad for China? They're in a real estate collapse, and 60% of their net worth is in real estate. And in some cases, people have lost 3/4 of their value of their home. They're in a demographic collapse because forever they basically would murder babies. That if somebody had another baby, they would murder their own child, abort their own child, or just throw the baby away if it wasn't a boy, because they wanted boys to work on the farm for a long time because they were only allowed to have one kid. Just absurdity looking back at it. This is what centralized control, top-down approach does for an economy. You make stupid decisions from some fucking moron who isn't being advised on everything that's going on because they're dictators in this case. If you think Xi isn't a dictator, he is. For 3 years, they had COVID lockdowns, guys. Can you imagine having a thing stuck up your fucking nose for 3 years every day just to get on a fucking train and move about the city? They destroyed their small business sector. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people affected, having their lives destroyed because of what they did. They distort the actual supply-demand dynamics in order to force products on the rest of the world while trying to choke off their markets. They wanted to invade all their neighbors. They militarized the South China Sea, and they hate the United States. They want to invade Taiwan first, and then they want to take out the rest. They threatened the Philippines all the time right now. Somebody who was kind of an ally a couple of years ago. They're a communist dictatorship. They manipulate their currency to give themselves more favorable terms, which is something you're not supposed to do. They've enslaved millions of people and harvest them for their fucking organs. You can, if you need a transplant, you can order one. Have you ever asked yourself why? Why can you order a heart and have it on Thursday? Have you ever wondered? And this isn't like conspiracy shit. This is real. There's satellite photos that show the millions of people that are enslaved in prisons, the Uyghurs, because they're Muslim. Don't get me wrong. I am no fan of the Muslim religion. I believe it's tyrannical. I believe it's a virus that's spreading around the world. I believe it's something that's eaten up the Middle East. But I don't believe in imprisoning people and harvesting their fucking organs and using them as slaves. They've seen the largest capital outflows of any country in history over the last 4 years. They have a debt to GDP that's approaching 350% if you weigh it correctly. And I just showed you something from Zero Hedge showing the 330% that they were at as of last reporting. Remember, they've removed 90% of their reporting metrics from the world since the pandemic so that they can give the illusion that they're not collapsing. Their bond market is on the edge of collapse. We just looked at it. It's in free fall. Their currency is losing value like a shit coin. A lot of their products are absolute trash. They use propaganda to present a false representation of life in China. Remember that video I showed you guys where all the people are like, you might think we're in a street in China, but we're actually on the 25th floor of a building right now. And then they all walk up and it's all a bunch of American influencers or European influencers saying the exact same shit. And there's like 25 of them. Bald and Bankrupt was one of them. They all got paid to go there. They all got a free trip. It's propaganda that they use all the time to paint a different perception about China. The average person in China makes dick. It's like $300 to $500 a month. 1/3 of their population lives in extreme poverty. And yet they said they eliminated poverty. That's bullshit. 16, there's massive amounts of corruption and fraud that are far outpaced what goes on in the United States. They have had literal rockets that are full of water and not rocket fuel. They found out because they were rusting. This country will collapse soon. The sad part is 88% of the population aren't members of the CCP and didn't have power over this world. They live in an oppressive regime that promised them that they would that if they allowed China to control their personal freedoms, China would give them prosperity. And they were willing to abide by that contract. Now China has broken it. These people deserve freedom. They deserve opportunity just like us. So let's pray for them because their path forward is going to be very dark. I put could, but it will be. If they don't comply and they don't work with the United States, they're absolutely fucked. Real quick, though, under predictions, I just wanted to speak to this. This is the path we're on right now. This is it. Okay? So if we're down a little bit this morning, do not fret. Buy that fucking dip if you haven't. Because now is not a time to divest. Only a moron would divest. Real quickly, I want to talk about energy. We got about 22 minutes until the bell, guys. This is it. This is all the nuclear waste from a facility that gave power to 500,000 homes for over 20 years, from 1972 to 1996. 24 years of nuclear waste. And we can do it better than this now. Isn't that amazing? This is coming from the Office of Nuclear Energy. In case you guys haven't gotten the vibe, we're going nuclear. U.S. Department of Energy, President Trump and Secretary Wright are determined, I need to follow him, 1 second here, sorry. Are determined to win the global AI race, and to fuel this race, we're going to need lots of American energy. Coal has powered our country for generations, and it will power us in the future as well. We're going full out energy, guys. Shema said American and European virtue signaling on climate change has made both America and Europe very fragile. Look at this. We've been reducing energy consumption and focusing on all this bullshit. And look at what China and India and other countries are doing. All right? It doesn't make any sense. Breaking. The German coalition of government announces that their coalition has agreed to examine whether it would be possible to reactivate some of their nuclear power plants since they turned them off and decommissioned them. Fucking sad. Just sad. Wow. All right, we got to go to the Trump side because there's a lot of stuff happening. Hey, Amit has joined and is asking for a FA. Amit? Oh, that's a different Amit. But yeah, I can look at Amit. Jesse, TSLL or MSTX today if you had another $200,000 to spend? That's tough. I would probably do both. Honestly. I think both hold weight. There is risk. There's more risk with Tesla right now. I just want to say that. Why is there more risk with Tesla? Because what if China actually does something to hurt them? Or people are just worried about that narrative. So, but I think both of them are rocket fuel. Oreo Express. The Trump administration has revoked student visas from students involved in the violent protests in San Diego State. They're kicking all these fuckers out. Good riddance. Elon. 2012. 13 years ago almost. I love manufacturing. I think we should do more of it in this country. We will be doing a lot. Bitcoin historian President Trump just asked the Supreme Court for the authority to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. He didn't specifically do that, but he did. Trump asked Supreme Court to let him fire top agency officials. President Donald Trump has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to allow him to immediately fire top officials at 2 independent agencies. The case is testing a 90-year-old Supreme Court ruling that lets Congress shield high-ranking officials from being fired by the president. The outcome could determine whether Trump has the power to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell and could also impact the job security of other agency officials. Maybe he did specifically ask. Do you guys know for sure? All in podcast. So again, I want. This is important. People give Lutnick a lot of shit. Maybe it's just because he's the Jersey type. I don't know. But you should listen to what he has to say. He's a smart man. And this guy, he lost thousands of employees on 9/11. His life should have came to an end. But for the first time, his wife said, "Can you take the kid to school?" And he did it. And he didn't die for that reason. So he's like Trump. He's got nothing to lose. He already lost his life a long time ago. Okay? And when you're that kind of person, everything changes when your mortality is in front of you.
Say we're going to charge a tariff, and other countries who lean on us, who rely on us, who can't live without the oxygen that is our economy. Because remember, the thing about our economy is, while we have a $29 trillion GDP, we are the consumer of 20 trillion.
Yeah, right.
And this is the key thing. We buy everybody's stuff. So who's more important? Let's say they have an economy that produces stuff, and we have an economy that buys stuff. The customer is always right. We all know the customer is always right, because if no one buys it, they can't produce it.
Right.
So everybody needs our economy. When? Now. I mean, to the fact that China consumes less than 10 trillion and primarily tries to figure out how to sell it to itself, right? So they don't buy anybody else's stuff.
Right.
So we are the world's consumer.
Yes.
We're the world's customer. We want them to come here, and if they can't come here, what if you pay us? When we say we're going to...
We're going to stop real quick. Can we listen to Rick Santelli? Yeah, we probably can. Real quickly, though. This is Stephen Moran. This is Stephen Moran. This is the architect behind what's been going on.
They closed the softball
We're going to
factory.
listen to this.
That's America.
If you guys don't know Steven, here we go.
On inflation showing consumer prices coming in lower than expected. By the way, we didn't get to that. Glad we mentioned it. Easing to 2.4% March. Obviously, none of that includes the impact of potential tariffs. The latest data does come after President Trump issued a 90-day pause on tariffs on dozens of countries, while China's tariff is now 125%. Let's bring in the Council of Economic Advisors Chairman Stephen Myron. Good to have you this morning, Mr. Myron.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You know, I'd love to get your take in terms of the likelihood at this point of sort of a slowdown, if not a recession. We speak to CEOs all day long, both on air, but more often off air when they're willing to actually share some confidences that they don't want to share publicly. And I certainly would say the last week or so, there's been a lot of concern. Do you think that the change in policy is going to mitigate the impact, perhaps, of a potential recession?
Look, you know, I never really thought that we were credibly heading for any sort of meaningful recession. And you guys yourselves, just a few minutes ago, mentioned Goldman did a pretty quick U-turn on their recession forecast. And I think lots of people...
Yeah, Goldman literally in the same day, guys, in 2 fucking hours. 2 hours. They went from, guys, we're reviving to a recessionary, higher probability, this is happening stance, over to the recession is canceled.
People have underestimated the fact that President Trump is a pro-growth president. He's a pro-healthy economy president, and he always has been. And so what's happened over the last few weeks is that financial markets are prone to excessive volatility, and that has always been the case. Nevertheless, that volatility itself can have really unfortunate economic knock-on effects, really unfortunate economic side effects. And so what the president and his team have done is to buy time to create very great trade deals that will be very intricate and do enormous things for the American economy and American workers, and to create time to make those trade deals. And we've got dozens and dozens of countries banging down the doors wanting to talk to us, wanting to create those trade deals.
Right. Don't mess with the bond market, perhaps, is one of the lessons that we learned over the last few days. Of course, many of us were aware.
CNBC yesterday was like the apocalypse is coming. They were so pissed off that the market had the 4th best day in fucking history.
That previously. What are your expectations when it comes?
I think they're still pissed off.
To these trade deals. You know, we sat here trying to understand what is the landscape really going to look like. Are, you know, American consumers and companies and everybody else importing say, all right, it's going to be a 10% across the board tariff. That's what we're going to live with. And basically nothing coming from China. Or do you think things are going to change dramatically over these next 90 days?
Look, the president has been pretty clear that what he wants is for other countries to remove their non-tariff barriers and their tariffs that prevent American exports from being as competitive. And so what I think we want is a situation in which American exports can go to the rest of the world, and we can trade more with the rest of the world. And it'll be great for lowering the trade deficit. It'll be great for the American
This has been the plan.
Economy. It'll be great for American workers, and that's what we want. But you mentioned the bond market, and I think it's also important to understand that the bond market should be further, sort of further happy that the inflation data came in so positively today. I mean, so tepidly today. The core inflation print, which is inflation, stripping out volatile things like food and energy. That core inflation print on an annual basis was the lowest core inflation print since March of 2021. So President Trump's policies are working at keeping inflation at bay, keeping inflation.
What he's saying is that was around the time that we started really, I should say this, that was around the time before we started aggressively printing and doing all the crazy shit, right? Like that was right around, well, I should say, it was right before the big ramp. And so this is good, or after the ramp. God damn it. Nothing's working in my brain today. Anyway, forget that last point. Just erase it.
Down, and between that and what's going on with trade, America's back.
It is.
America never really left, sir.
Oh, you're telling him that, Jim Cramer? Black Monday Cramer is telling him that America never really left, to the architect of everything that's going on right now. Fucking hilarious. The arrogance.
Cramer, I know that the CPI was good today, but we know that there is
my God.
Bump in prices coming. Notice I did not call it a tax because I'm not going to get into politics with you. But there is a bump in prices. We all know that.
Shut the fuck up, Cramer.
Won't that extend to the CPI just logically, empirically, and rigorously?
No.
Look,
do you know how the CPI is calculated?
Just good. It was really great. So if you look at some items
about the future.
I
love this number. This number was better than you think. I want to talk about the next number.
No, that's fine. I'll get to that in 1 second. I just want to say one thing about this number, which is that it's so good that if you look at prescription drug prices, they fell 2% in March. That's the biggest decline on record. Now, so this was not just a good number; it was a fantastic number. But if you want to talk about the future, we talk about the future too. And I think that it's important to understand that the cost of the tariffs is ultimately borne by countries that we're tariffing, and that's because we can reallocate our demand across borders, whereas countries that have factories sitting there, they can't move those factories, and so that.
It dumbfounds me, guys. We literally had Kashkari or whatever talking about how inflation is going to be so high. Why do we have a Fed? If a guy in his basement who dropped out of high school has a better understanding than the hundreds of people that are in the Fed about what's going on in the global macro landscape, why do we have one? Can you tell me? Why?
It means that the cost of the tariffs are borne by countries that we're tariffing. And so in the short run, can there be bumps? Can there be volatility? We saw the volatility in financial markets. That's absolutely the case. Can there be volatility in other prices too? Sure. But in the fullness of time, American consumers have the ability to shift their demand patterns across borders.
Yes.
Whether that means bringing demand home to home producers, or whether it means shifting demand from countries that treat us really poorly to countries that treat us really well. And the president's trade policy will accelerate that. And so the fact that we're flexible means that we
shut up and listen, Kramer.
Means that we'll avoid bearing the burden of the tariffs, and the countries that we're tariffing will bear that burden.
Yes. Well, let's talk about building a factory.
Yes.
Eli Lilly built the fastest factory I've ever seen. It's a North Carolina factory.
Let's talk about how factories get built slowly. It doesn't matter. All the momentum's positive because now our biggest exporter, the country that ships all the cheap bullshit, has a massive tariff against them. There's huge amounts of pressure being applied. It's crushing their business model. It's crushing the businesses that already might have just been breaking even. And the incentive for the cheaper good is in the United States. So there's small manufacturers that are like, guys, holy shit, we got to ramp up. We got to start. Let's not build new factories. Let's go ahead and start ramping up production. Can we get the building next door? Let's use that unused space. Let's rebuild the lines. We are producing now. Now. The change is now. Will it be more in the future? Fuck yeah, it will. It'll be a lot more when you get really big factories, but we're going to see the benefits now.
In Concord, it was supposed to take about 5 years typically. They did do it in 2.5 years, but they're a pretty well-run company.
Hi, Kramer.
2.5 years is record time, sir. What are we supposed to do in the interim?
What we're supposed to do is accelerate the deregulation process. And as I said before, the president has...
Again, the incentive is already there. Stephen isn't talking about it, but that's fine. He's right. We do need deregulation, but we're already seeing the benefits now.
There's always been a pro-growth economy, and the president's a pro-growth president, and he's determined to create a healthy economy and the strongest economy we've ever seen. So what we have to do is we have to get the regulations out of the way so that people can build those factories faster. It shouldn't take years to do environmental reviews before you build a factory. You should be able to break ground. And so what we need to do is to create a situation in which firms can really build those factories much faster. Coupling the deregulatory agenda with the president's approach on trade is exactly how we get to the new golden age.
Yes.
I got an idea.
Yes.
You talked about pharma being down a couple percent. That's terrific. There are people in the administration that want very much to put a big tariff on pharma. Why don't we get a commitment from you that says we're going to keep prices down and that there will not be a big tariff on pharma? What a great time for you to be.
Oh, shut the fuck up, you cuck.
Able to make a little news and just accept the fact that that's what has to happen.
Jim Cramer at one point was actually like somebody that people could listen to and get value from. He is just a fucking joke and probably has been for a very, very, very long time.
So can you kind of assure us that we don't raise prices, a tariff on pharma?
Yeah, so look, so I'm an economic advisor, so I can't make any commitments. I certainly can't get ahead of the president. Sorry?
You probably have some insight.
Well, I have some ideas, and I'm very happy to share those ideas, as are the president's other advisors. But I can't commit the president, and what I've said is the president is determined to create a situation in which American workers, American firms are in a fair ground vis-a-vis foreign workers.
They're in an absolutely advantageous scenario right now.
foreign countries, and he's also determined to create improved national security and resilience in supply chains that are critical to our national security. Nobody wants to be in a situation where there's some sort of emergency and we're dependent on importing pharmaceuticals or inputs to pharma from China. Like, that's just a bad situation that you don't want to be in.
Well, right now, I think 90% of all the active ingredients in antibiotics come from China. Not quite sure what we're going to do about that. I mean, that's not, do you expect that there'll be any trade whatsoever between our...
That's funny. Volkswagen announced significant earnings miss, partially, excuse me, partially due to inventory issues, whatever, tariff, yada, yada. I think that's fucking hilarious. That's great. You know what? Maybe if you built in America, or if your government talked a little nicer to us, you'd be doing better, but that's not the case. So I feel bad for you, son. Tim R. said something, and I wanted to catch it real quick. Or actually, let me go back to Anthony Yeo, and then we'll let this finish out. Jesse, if bond prices collapse, yield up, why is Chinese yield so low when their bond prices collapse? So they're in the worst case scenario. So there's always, this is why it's confusing, I think, for some people, because what you would expect if China's doing really bad, you would expect their bond yields to explode. That's what you're saying, right, Anthony? You're trying to figure that out, because why isn't it? It's because their capital markets are closed, and they're not fully closed, but don't tell anybody. The rich can still get their money out. Macau is one way. There's other ways, but when you have a closed environment, they can't easily, the masses, buy Bitcoin. They don't want to buy stocks because they can't trust them. The stock market, again, hasn't really done anything for like 25 years there. And then they can't buy real estate because it's in a free fall. And their government's heavily indebted now, whereas they weren't in 2008. They had surplus balances, tons of money. And so the only thing they can do is, for the masses, is throw their money in bonds and try and lock in some rate of return, because they know growth isn't the 5% that it's reported to be. So that's why you see this inverse of what you would normally see in an open economy like the United States. I hope that answered your question. All right, let's go back here. So that's Anthony. Tim R. Venture capital needs to flow into fast-paced startups that employ the brightest people and solving real problems for the USA, not silly apps. Back to manufacturing and production. I would say apps and AI are definitely important, but you're right. We need manufacturing and production. That we need to help the lower class. These people should have the ability to gain wealth, to save money and put it in their retirement, to live in a nice fucking house, to have one person working so another person can be taking care of the kids. I don't care if that's the man or the woman. I don't give a fuck. But it probably, I don't know, probably easier on the woman since she's the one that gives birth. But we should have the opportunity for people to not have to work. And I'm sorry, it is an amazing thing for a woman to take care of the kids, to make sure that they're not left alone and anxious and sad, and to feed them and to clothe them and to spend time with them and to take care of the house. That is a fucking job. It's a hard one. And it's one that America hasn't had enough of. So for all the libs out there who think that, women taking care of their families isn't important, fuck you. You either don't have a family or you just like working. Anyway, yeah, that stuff's important. And let me see what else we got here. Volkswagen, Kramer. All right, that might have been it. The golden age gets more clearer to me every day that goes by. I hope this is for all of you, says Mike. I agree. It's so clear right now. It's been clear in my vision for a long time, the path. The fact that it's actually happening is just mind-blowingly beautiful. Anyway, let's let Steven finish. He's way smarter than these people.
Country in China given the 125% tariff and the 84% tariff they have on our goods?
Look, the president is just absolutely famous for his negotiating skills and for pulling deals out of a hat when nobody thought it was possible. Nobody thought the Phase 1 China deal was possible in 2019, and yet the president delivered it, and it was a great deal for Americans with protections for intellectual property, protections for market access, protection, the commitments for China to buy.
Market's going to be open in a minute.
They didn't follow through on, of course. Yeah, they didn't follow through on many of those agricultural commitments.
And the Biden administration failed to enforce any of it. China walked away from it, and the Biden administration let them walk away from it. So the president is famous for his ability to create deals, and nobody should doubt that if any...
Really, Kramer? Biden. He's going to say shit like that?
One can pull something off here, it's him.
That's so disrespectful. This guy literally created the playbook that's winning right now. Fuck these people.
All right, Chairman Myron, look forward to future conversations. Obviously, short on time today, but certainly appreciate your taking that time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Steven, you're great. Fuck those guys. They're retarded. Yes, we got the bell. We'll probably keep the... Actually, you know what? I'll just fucking keep it going.
In the financing for new data centers, which has just been running at an...
I made $500,000 yesterday, so I'm not upset.
Incredible pace, that things are slowing a bit.
I'm not hearing that.
Pretty good for a high school dropout.
All right. Well, I said this yesterday. I'm not that the data centers being built is slowing or everything going in them, but I'm talking things that are out a while. But yes, that, things are getting a little softer. Well, but that is not even from Microsoft, where I know there's been a lot of concern.
Microsoft's the one, because I think
they're going to hold the line on $80 billion, but not more.
I think they're switching to OpenAI. Okay, here's my theory. And so far, okayed by the powers that be. There is a shift from hyperscaler to others who need the latest and greatest.
What does that mean?
By the way,
that's pre-market, guys.
Grace Blackwell sold out.
This is how we start.
Sold out.
Yep.
Next one, we're going to have Vera Rubin, a great one from Philadelphia. One of the two people that's come out since Ben Franklin.
Yep.
And I will tell you that if you're a robot maker, you need all the ones that you can possibly get. Self-drive, you need all these. These are not hyperscalers. And the movement, sovereign countries, if
the close will be up, in my opinion.
And CoreWeave is a huge buyer. Yeah, I think what you find is that people who have felt that NVIDIA is hooray. NVIDIA, people felt that NVIDIA was an easy short.
Yeah, NVIDIA was an easy short. How stupid are those people? We'll wait for this to update real quick. I want to get back to Trump, too. I really don't care about this morning's price action. Tesla's down 4% plus. MicroStrategy's down 4% plus. You have this brief moment to buy. If you need to hit the pause and go do that, you should do it. You're not going to have a big window. These will be updating in a second here. They're not quite all updated yet. They're still reflecting. There we go. Boom. There's today. And so you have this brief window where you can buy, and that's going to leave you. It's going to be very fleeting. So good luck. I hope you make the right choice. All right, let's keep going here. U.S. President Trump says he plans to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. They're actually trying to work on negotiations still. We're putting Putin in a really tough place with oil now under $60, sitting at $59.87 as I speak. So they want to close the deal. They can see that China is not going to be able to help them. They can see that we've got an arms deal with Ukraine. They want to buy, well, we don't have an arms deal, but they want to buy $50 billion funded by the EU. Not only are we not paying for the Ukrainian war, our war machine is going to make money from it. I don't even know what to say. We still are going to end it, but we're making money while we end it, and we're locking them into energy contracts. Trump is brilliant. Breaking House passes historical bill limiting our activist judges by a razor-thin margin. Republicans just secured a major victory to rein in rogue district judges. The final vote, 218 to 214. With nearly the bill curbs power of individual district judges to block national policies through nationwide injunctions, a tactic frequently used against Trump administration policies. This marks a significant win for the GOP's judicial reform agenda. Democrats fought hard but came up short. Again, they literally have to side against everything that we do. That's pretty sad. Rep. Jim Jordan, egg prices are down. Illegal border crossings are down. Energy costs are down. Investments in America are up. President Trump's plan is working. We've got Hegseth, the Panama Canal deal grant U.S. military ships priority passage, also signed with the Minister of Canal Affairs, a framework for U.S. military and auxiliary ships to travel through Panama Canal first and free. Besant, Wall Street has grown wealth here for 4 decades. So for the next 4 years, it's Main Street's turn. That's that historic bill. We've got, it's reported that U.S. officials have started investigating cases of political persecution across Europe. We will be doing that. We will be holding them to it. That's the deal getting signed for Panama. We have this yesterday. This is Tim Walz getting a big, powerful greeting from a bunch of veterans. There's some passion. Yeah, there's some passion in the building, Waltz. They fucking hate you for stealing valor. Homeland Security. Yeah, shut your fucking mouth. That's great. Homeland Security. There is no room in the United States for the rest of the world's terrorist sympathizers, and we're under no obligation to admit them or let them stay here. Anyone who thinks they can come to America and hide behind the First Amendment to advocate for anti-Semitic violence and terrorism, think again. You are not welcome here. All these people are going to be gone. Donald Trump. This is great. This is great. This is my favorite quote from him in a long time, okay? Deals are my art form. Other people paint beautifully or write poetry. I like making deals, preferably big deals. That's how I get my kicks. I 100% believe that. And he's good at it. And you can call him an idiot, but he's going to make this country great, and people are going to love him. And we'll see record amounts of conservatives, record amounts of red states next election. In the next presidential, to be specific, because you need time for things to play out. Could it be Ronald Reagan, where 49 states vote for Trump? Yeah, it could. Or not Trump. I don't want to be clear. I don't want a third term. But J.D. Vance, yes, I think it could. All right, keep going. And also on that point about his everybody having a gift, my gift is being able to spot the truth. I can spot it. I can spot the genuineness of people in an instant. I can spot who knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. And I work hard. I love macroeconomics and geopolitics. I've kind of fell in love with this stuff as a kid, even though I dropped out of high school. I still loved like demographics and just all these things fascinated me. So that's my gift. It's my gift to the world, and it's one I'm going to try and keep putting out there. And I'm not good at a lot of things, but I got that. Just like he's got trades. And everybody has a gift. Your job in life is to figure out what yours is. What can you give back to society? That's your job. Besson, today under my direction, FinCEN News published a first-of-its-kind report on fentanyl, which continues to claim innocent American lives every single day. President Trump is committed to cutting off the flow in these deadly drugs into America, with Mexico and China identified as the worst perpetrators. And again, here's kind of all the details sitting underneath in the report. We're freezing billions of dollars from colleges all around the country, guys. $1 billion for Cornell, almost $1 billion for Northwestern. We're locking down funds. They shouldn't be getting our money if they're just literally teaching people to hate America and to hate Jews. They shouldn't, right? We shouldn't be pro-Islam in our colleges. We shouldn't be funding this, and we're not anymore. Yesterday, we passed. We have the record $1 trillion budget incoming. Trump says his team has greenlit a military budget in the vicinity of $1 trillion, the biggest in history. The plan would mark a massive, and we're still going to do huge cuts too, and defense spending. A massive jump from the current $850 billion defense budget. We're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build, and we have to be strong because you have a lot of bad forces out there. Coming soon, the first $1 trillion. And we're going to be doing all kinds of things. They talked about how they want to optimize the entire military. Hello, Palantir. Hello, Anduril. Very good things coming from that regard. I actually want to jump real quick. Did I already do defense and war? I feel like I did. I don't know if I have my post. Oh, here we go. Zelensky announces the Ukraine wants to buy the $50 billion package. Again, we've got that, right? But also we've got this. CA Forever is answering the call to propel American shipbuilding for the next century. With today, POTUS's executive order and the Bipartisan Ships Act, we're offering 3 miles of our waterfront to build Solana Shipyard, the largest shipbuilding complex in America. Last year, one Chinese shipyard built more ships than every American shipyard combined. Since World War II, you read that correctly, one shipyard. We're desperately behind. Catching up is only possible if we combine modern manufacturing with production that matches China's scale. We will. We will. I know it looks horrible. We will. And again, what's happening? Trump is trying to prevent a war. Let's listen to Palmer Luckey talk for 30 seconds.
It's incredibly aggressive, the timeline to manufacture the first phase of this site and then start production mid-2026. How big a factor was that timeline in Ohio's selection, Palmer?
it has to be this fast because we don't have time for business as usual. The types of threats that the United States is facing, that our allies around the world are facing, the fact that we are predicted to run out of munitions within the first 8 days of a potential conflict with China mean that we need to hyper-scale our manufacturing of these types of weapons.
And we're doing that. Some of the defensive tools that Palmer Luckey has are amazing, guys. And like this right here, I just want to show you this. Watch this. This is one of the things that they're building. So we already have Starlink. Starlink has, do you guys know what Star Shield is, chat? Do you know what Star Shield is? It's SpaceX's Starlink's program for the defense sector of the US. And we don't know shit about it. Okay? That exists already. Now, let's look here. Jesse, are my comments being blocked? It depends on what you put in. YouTube blocks some shit. I can't speak to that. I don't know anything about it. But now we're looking at something similar for Anduril in the sea. Watch this. And I love that he's doing this with a fucking cartoon. I really do have to take some time to buy some Anduril stock in the private markets. That wasn't even the other one I was talking about. I don't know. That might be this one. Let's see. Or is this just a preview? Oh, no, that's the preview. They've got all these sensors that are going to be pinging around the world underwater that can literally identify everything. But this is part of their network that we're going to be doing. So we have a shield in the sky. We've got Star Shield, bought to you by Elon Musk, and we've got Palmer Luckey protecting our seas with Anduril. We're going at it, guys. And we got the F-47 that's going to be able to also operate drone fleets and be flown without a person in it. Things are changing. War is changing, and we're at the forefront of it. Like, look at this. This is literally one of the prototypes that they're talking about. And these guys are builders, man. They are building. They are aggressively expanding. There's good stuff coming. We're gonna make it to where we don't have to go to war by protecting our country and making it where we're a formidable foe. This is a beautiful time. Market's down. We're getting that drop. This is your time. This is it. MicroStrategy down 5.5. Mara down 5. CleanSpark down 5. Iron down 5.8. This is the kind of washout you get at the beginning after getting 20+% days. This is it. This is the selling in the morning and then the buying into the afternoon. That's what I see. That's what I see happening today. Could be wrong. Usually I'm not. All right. I do want to jump back to Trump. There might have been one that I missed, and I just wanted to make sure. We're going to have Gaza. The IRS has agreed to share immigrants' tax information with ICE to facilitate deportations. I don't know. Be cool. Trump yesterday, be cool. Everything's going to work out well. The U.S. will be bigger and better than ever before. Again, these guys just keep telling you what we're going to do. Sending a message to China. Let's listen to that. It's from the 8th.
I want to be very clear. China did not build this canal. China does not operate this canal. And China will not weaponize this canal. Together with Panama in the lead, we will keep the canal secure and available for all nations through the deterrent power of the strongest, most effective, and most lethal fighting force in the world. We will do this in partnership with Panama. Together, we will take back the Panama Canal from China's influence. And we will do this along with other capable, like-minded allies and partners. This is what peace through strength looks like.
I love that. Anthony, market retrace 50% of moves, then send. I don't even think it'll make it that far. I think you're looking at it. This is your opportunity. Again, this is Trump talking about how we're trying to get energy purchases from the EU, which totally makes sense because then again, they've been funding the war on both sides. They've been funding Russia with just about as much money as they've been giving Ukraine. Now they're going to give Ukraine money. They're going to give us money. Then the flow stop for Russia. Russia has an incentive to end the war. Ukraine's in a better spot. The EU's in a better spot. And we make a bunch of money. Here, I got to roll up my sleeves here. Talked about that yesterday. I need to make sure I do that. Get the guns out. I need to work on the guns more. That's going to be a focus of mine in the days ahead. But yeah, so everybody benefits, right? I just want to see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about here. This was Pocahontas yesterday. Fuck that. This I love. Did I play this yesterday? I don't know if I did, but I want you guys to hear it. This is a liberal man at a rally against Trump and Elon Musk. And she's interviewing him. She commonly does this. She's a conservative. Listen to this.
People who are supposed to be so liberal are against freedom of speech.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So she's going to come up to you and tell you not to engage with me.
Yeah, I mean, this is incredible, and I'm much more liberal than they are, right? It's
she's not on our side. She's opposition.
Yeah, but that's exactly what the other people say, right? Don't talk to people because we don't all share the same values. Well, we don't all share the same values, right?
Correct.
But I share the value of freedom of speech.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I can talk to her.
Just know she's going to edit it and make you look like a fool. Well, I think he's the most
He's not the one who looks like the fool.
reasonable.
Well,
you're right. I'm just here providing safety.
I share your values, but I also believe in dialogue and freedom of speech, okay?
Okay, enjoy.
Right.
Just you've been warned.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Did you need that warning? You seem like you have some wisdom on your side.
Well, I'm an extremely liberal person, right?
Okay.
But, there's an old saying, liberals are often fascists on vacation. Right? And I'm against all forms of fascism, whether it's right-wing fascism or left-wing fascism.
Totally agree.
Right? I mean, the Democrats were in power for many years, and they could have done something about immigration and all that. They didn't. Mm-hmm. And now it came back to bite them in the ass, right? And they've turned the traditional values of the Democrats used to talk about economic policy, about working class people, not identity politics, right?
Don't talk to her. She's the enemy. Isn't this funny? Isn't it funny just watching these guys fall apart? This is funny too. I'm sorry, I got to show this. So the market could end green today. I think it probably will. Listen to this. This is an interview with Trump the other day, or a speech. Listen to this. This is so good.
Congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce.
No, the guy's not conservative. He's liberal. And it's okay to be liberal. He might have completely different belief systems. Here's the thing. He's courteous, he's respectful, and he does agree in free speech and hate fascism. He could still be very liberal socially, maybe even economically. But the fact that he's willing to have dialogue is beautiful. That's the way Americans should be. Even if they have differences of opinion, we should be able to talk about them. We shouldn't get banned or censored by our friends or other people.
Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team...
Listen to this. Oh, wait, sorry. I fucked that up. Let me go back.
Congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team. I didn't think it was that big a deal, actually. Washington, over the course.
Fuck, I love it. He's having so much fun right now, guys. So much fun. I just wanted to see if there's any of these others I wanted to point out. This is a Charlie Kirk meetup at Illinois State College in a deep blue state. Look at the people that are coming to see him. This guy used to have like 2 people around his stand, and now he's got massive amounts. The tide is turning. Yeah, I think that's enough for the Trump side. I want to jump real quickly over here to Bitcoins, because Bitcoins is super important right now, guys. You got to understand. By the way, the markets seem to be recovering right now, I think. I think we're getting close to that bottom. Let's just take a look here at the stock heat map. So a lot of red still. Consumer non-durables are starting to retrace. BABA's up today. If you're buying BABA, you are one of the most retarded fucks on this planet right now. Just because you could literally lose access to this stock. And now I know the Chinese government is buying BABA, but I hope to God retail in the U.S. isn't. 5 of Korea's largest banks met today to demand changes to national Bitcoin and crypto laws. See, they tightened theirs. They went very anti-crypto, and that's all gone. Oh, Susan's here? Hey, Susan, what's up? How you doing? And Charlie's very smart, and I love him because he never went to college. I think he went to high school, but he never went to college. I think that's cool. $7 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts to be liquidated at $90,000. Let's liquidate them all. I agree. Koosh. I like Koosh. If you guys don't follow Koosh, he does really beautiful charts. He does, let's see. He does EW, wick off, and trend analysis. So I don't wick off no, I'm kidding. Anyway, I was going to make a joke. It's stupid though. But there's like some of these forms I don't use as much, but they do hold some relevance. What I love though is this pattern that he's showing. It is beautiful for wick off. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. It's mirror image. Like some of this is a little bit different. Like this would be a little over here more, and then maybe have like a little more of a short. But it's still beautiful. This is the 4-year trend on Bitcoin, and it shows how we had the perfect spring, the perfect back test, went back up, tested this again. If you draw the line, the trend line, it's a perfect. If you draw it like this, it's perfect. I show you guys that all the time. Layer of support. We are ready to rock. And again, Ryan Cohen, we know he has an intention of buying Bitcoin. He's got billions of dollars that he can do it with. That's very exciting. Dennis Porter, Bitcoin was created for a time such as this. He's 100% right. The White House crypto czar, David Sachs, to speak at the world's largest Bitcoin conference next month. That seems like signal. Congressman Emmer just said Bitcoin and crypto is about making. Let's just listen to it. It's only 24 seconds.
My gosh. This is literally everything that I've believed in since my formative years when I was coming of age in the late 70s, early 80s, but in the digital world. It's about empowering the individual. It's about making sure that government actually works for us rather than rules over us. I mean, all of this, and it really lit me up. Oh my gosh, this is literally everything that
the QQQ doesn't offer the kind of returns that I like. I don't touch it. The Bitcoin therapist, I'm at work right now and everyone is talking about Bitcoin. Something major is happening. People asking questions they weren't before. Never seen anything like this. And again, I paint this all the time, but Max has it too. This trend line right here showing the last 4 years and how we perfectly back tested it and jumped higher from it, just like you can see down in the corner, guys. Perfectly above it. Just perfect coincidence. This is astrology for men though, guys, so maybe don't listen to it. I'm kidding. It's not. But people think that because they're stupid and ignorant and can't see patterns. If you don't have pattern recognition, I guess even facts, time can't teach you a lesson. Breaking, Russian central bank chief says Bitcoin and crypto are becoming a shield against U.S. sanctions. They said that for a long time. Luca said maybe BTC just needed a tariff war. Digital assets. So this is, it says, head of digital assets, Matthew Seigel, de-dollarization moves Bitcoins towards a monetary role. I believe this is Van Eck. Can somebody confirm that? I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe it says in here. Yeah, I think it's Van Eck. Anyway, I do agree with all that. Breaking, Swedish MP urges the country's central bank to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Dennis Tukarem. Yes. Varsågod.
Oh, yeah, I'm not listening to this if it's not in English. Chicken Genius, he actually just talked to me the other day. He's a good dude. We have conversations every once in a while. He said, here comes the money printer. I don't totally agree with his direction on where he is right now with stuff, but that's okay. He said, here comes the money printer. We know the playbook. So Japan, the BOJ said they're going to hold a meeting at 4 p.m. Yeah, they're going to have to. Everybody's printing money. Not so much here, in different ways. We'll be doing tax cuts. Essentially, we'll be printing money too, just not in the same way and more efficiently. Axel says, despite all the market negativity, major players are actively accumulating Bitcoin. You can see all that right here. Bitcoin whale position change has shot up dramatically since, I don't know, beginning of April, right around there. I put Bitcoin fixes this. This is really important. So this Boasty guy said, am I missing something, or are precious metals terrible investments? I inquired about selling some of mine, so he bought all this physical gold, right? There's $1,000 difference between the buy and sell price on Geiger 100-ounce silver bars, and you have to pay to send it. Gold isn't quite as bad, but still. So he's realizing that this physical thing isn't that great, and that what he's seeing for the price of what they're willing to sell it at is not the price they're willing to buy it at. And so it's horrible to try and redeem this shit. Do you know what fixes that? Chat, do you know what fixes that? Maybe chat can tell us. Fiat Archive, just in, Chinese public company Congo to sell $350 million auto business to go all in Bitcoin. Seems kind of cool. Japanese company Metaplanet bought more. Again, that was on the 2nd. That's a little old. I need to post more Bitcoin stuff. I don't have enough. Let's go to Tesla. But it's really important, guys. And on that same point about liberals that are starting to see the truth, a comment I've been saying for a while now. I just want you to hear this.
Check it out, guys. Somebody keyed the crap out of my Tesla, a car I bought 6 years ago in the state of California, because I'm concerned about climate change. Oh, but some amazing resistance fighter keyed the crap out of it, and that's going to do it. Voting didn't work, but, you know, this defiling the car of a fellow liberal, we did it, guys. We got him. Today's our Liberation Day. Go celebrate. Just go celebrate. Woo!
I think he's being sarcastic. You tell me what you think, chat. But again, this is just like I said. Just like I said. Liberals are getting pissed about all of this. They're mad. Breaking. Tesla has officially begun selling their electric vehicles in Saudi Arabia today. Beautiful. Elon Musk, Starship will hopefully depart for Mars at the end of next year with Optimus Explorer robots. And the only addition to this is that Optimus asked if he could have a Cybertruck. But is that not amazing? We're going to have a Starship going to Mars by the end of next year with Optimus robots on it? Is that cool to anybody? And just in case you doubt Elon, let's look at industries he's performed. Online maps. This was a Z something? Not Z-scaler. It was like Z, I don't know. Whatever it was. 1995. Online maps. Online payments. Think PayPal. Was PayPal. 2006, space exploration. 2008, electric transportation. 2014, autonomous transportation. 2015, energy. 2015, internet access via Starlink. 2015, artificial intelligence. 2016, brain-machine interfacing. 2017, urban transport and tunneling. 2020, manufacturing and supply chains. 2021, humanoid robots. 2022, social media. 2022, news media. 2025, government and bureaucracy. Are you seriously doubting this man's ability to bring us into a fucking golden age? Are you? Yep, Saudi Arabia. We know that. Oh, this is one of his baby mamas. She's kind of cute. Elon was never interested in anything, no matter how lucrative. Her name's Shaban Zolis. I think he's got two with her. He actually, funny story, she was knocked up having his babies at the same time Grimes was knocked up having his baby in the same hospital. Tell me that isn't, like, weird. But listen, Elon was never interested in anything, no matter how lucrative, unless it was of existential relevance to our species. That's amazing. Elon Musk says your Tesla has better AI than our military aircraft. That's amazing. You think Tesla is going to be involved with the military in the future? Probably quietly, because they don't want to affect their business in China. Tesla's still dropping, down 6%. Great buy right now, guys. Tesla stock closed up 22.69% yesterday, the second biggest single day percentage gain in Tesla's stock 15-year history. Here's Tim Waltz. I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to hear his voice. Once you become successful, don't be greedy bastard and not pay your taxes. I don't think we should be the party that demonizes someone because they can afford something. They worked hard for and got something. We should demonize people like Elon Musk. That's different. Elon paid the largest tax bill in history. It was actually closer to $12 billion. Elon Musk, the factory is the product. Yes. Let's just look here at what I'm going to be using to clean my cyber cabs in my fucking mansion in a couple of years that my nephew will be managing. Because I'm probably going to get like 3 of these.
I wake, I clean, I live. They leave gifts for me, so kind. They feed me like a king. But I don't do it for accolades. My work is my sustenance, soaking up every last crumb and every last crevice. Potato chips. Like our own little game of hide and seek. Found you. It's a simple life, but as the sun is to a flower, vital. Until next time, my old friend.
Isn't that amazing? Tesla or TSLL? I would do TSLL. I mean, that's what I've done. Personally, that's what I would do. Mario, Bondi brings the hammer, left-wing domestic. I mean, just look at this, though. Like the machine that builds the machine. And here's a machine that cleans the machine that was built by the machine. It's fucking great, man. Mario, Bondi brings the hammer, left-wing domestic terrorism against Tesla, finally. This guy's getting 20 years in prison. That's what they're going for. Is there anything else new in here? CNN praises Musk and Tesla as they put the chart showing that Teslas are the most American-made cars. I watched that. It was so weird. We've got, Andrew here again. Your Tesla has better AI than military aircraft. Palmer Luckey. Yeah, sorry. Oh, somebody might have said that in chat, that was Palmer Luckey that said that. But yeah, Elon Musk is the one that said accurate. Countries only go to war when they disagree with who the victor will be. We have to prove we have the capacity to win. Manufacturing capacity is our greatest vulnerability. We need more manufacturing and smarter weapons. AI is the one possible way we can keep up with China's numerical advantages, because they do. They have numerical advantages in every way. But he's right. We can beat them. We can beat them, and AI is the way to do it, and creating robots is the way to do it. And again, the beautiful thing about this is Palmer Luckey is going to end up being the Elon Musk of war, and he's going to make things better. And I love it. I'm here for it. X will soon automatically translate all posts in your timeline into your language using Grok. How cool is that? Delaware is dying. Texas is the future of American business. Delaware, once the gold standard for business and corporation, now it's a cautionary tale. Everybody's leaving Delaware, and people are starting to register in Texas if they're starting new companies. It's huge. Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. Yeah, we know. And here, again, we had an actual terrorist attack where somebody created a bomb to blow up a charger. So these guys deserve the 20 years. They're getting very close to it. And this one, I don't know if I played this already, but you got to hear this. This is a woman yelling at a guy who is black driving a Tesla. Listen to this.
What's your... What? And you're black. You know he owned people, right? So you know he was a slave owner.
Shut the... Elon Musk was a slave owner.
How dumb are you?
Shut the up.
And you're black. What the fuck? That's how delusional these people are. Again, they think Elon was a slave owner. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. The guy that was, this is the story about the guy shining the laser that's going to get 20 years now. And yeah, I think that's enough. Let Netflix, KT Netflix special is Fire Sawyer. Which Netflix special are we talking about? Palmer Luckey. Oh, Palmer Luckey's such a cool guy. Actually, I mean, I think it's a duet between Palmer Luckey and Elon Musk. They're both the real Iron Man. I mean, Elon Musk is literally building an Optimus robot. Right now, Tesla at 6.41. This is your time to buy, guys. Limited time sale. Got to watch Kill Tony? I think I have. Is that the first person view one, or is that something different? Maybe I'm tripping. JT, these people are out of their mind. I've run into them. Oh, dude, so many crazy fucking people. I've run into them too, brother. A lot of thems. U.S. economy, I didn't go over that. What the heck? So Seth Golden's saying, hey, there isn't a Trump put, but there's definitely a Trump call. I would agree with that. I think that's true. And credit spreads that went up like crazy. Everybody was telling you about, watch out for the credit spreads, guys. I'm pretty sure Chamath closed out his trade yesterday because we went from 80 down to 67. I haven't looked at what it is today. I'll have to take the gander. Also, here he said third best day on record for the S&P. I thought it was the fourth, but I guess maybe that was a different indice. I don't know. Yeah, we don't really need to talk about that. It's pretty much the same shit. Yeah, I guess I went through this part. We're good. Comedy show, new special on Netflix. Is Trump admin? Oh, okay. All right, I'll check it out. Kill Tony. Okay. Nvidia back down. Still want to get into leaps. I mean, it went up a shit ton. Do I want to? I would have been happier getting it down at 86. It's 108 right now. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. I don't really care too much, honestly. I'm pretty happy with life. I'm just going to sit back and coast. I just want to remind you guys of something. Oh, no, we're down to 9. We're down to 9 again. So this is the time where you just sit back, and if you haven't bought in, buy. I'll go over Doge tomorrow. I think I'm just going to call it right here, guys. It's 9 o'clock anyway. Be positive. We just saw one of the best trading days in history and multiple indices. God, I'm like running over my cord here. I'll fix it later. We saw that we're the dominant player in world trade. We have the consumer. Our manufacturing companies are going to start winning right now. Right now, they're winning. They're producing more goods. They're going to see an increase. They're going to have more spending power. Poor people and people in the lower tax rate, for the first time in a very long time, they're getting what they deserve. They're getting more money. And this isn't in a bad way. Don't listen to Jim Cramer and these fucking idiots. You just listen to Stephen Moran, the brilliant architect behind a lot of what's going on right now. Tesla's down 6% right now, and you have an opportunity to buy it. MicroStrategy's down 6.5%, and you have an opportunity to buy it. If you haven't bought into a miner, they're still down like 70% from where they were a year ago. This is your opportunity to buy it. You do you. If you want to de-risk like Stock Trader Max, and I don't know where he makes his money from. I kind of like the guy, but he's just being an idiot. If you want to be that guy, go ahead and be that guy. If you want to bet against the age of abundance that's coming our way with the most brilliant people I've ever could have imagined in the driver's seat, whether it's Palmer Luckey, whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's David Sachs, whether it's Chamath giving guidance, or Bill Ackman, again, telling the administration what they should do online, and they did it, and it was the right move. Whether it's Stephen Moran, whether it's Scott Bessent, whether it's Howard Lutnick, the array of brilliant leadership that we have running this country right now. I mean, bet against that if you want. I'm not going to. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to I just had the best sleep of my fucking life last night, and I'm going to have one of the best days ever and get out and enjoy it. And again, if you guys just remember the truth, remember what's coming. It's coming right here. Right here. Peace out, guys. See you tomorrow.
I hear the train coming. It's rolling around the bend. And I ain't seen the sunshine. I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps rolling, all down to San Antonio. All down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son,